Hello everyone, ARG back here with some more Franchise Hockey Manager 8, where we are going to continue our LA Kings Historical Challenge. So welcome to all hockey fans, LA Kings fans, heck, maybe ARG fan if you're in the latter category. You have a special place in my heart. Alright, so, we're first. Not too shabby. We had kind of a rocky start in October. We didn't do all that great in October. It was trial and error, I guess. Then I made a couple changes to the team, and well, even prior to making the changes, the team started to play better and everything. So we're in January. That's probably the only month I'm gonna play today, so it's, you know, the Sens in real life are playing early today, so that kind of messes up my streaming schedule. I would really appreciate if the league would contact me before they create the schedule so that I can approve. But, you know, until that they do, I'm gonna need to make do with the schedule that is given to the Sens, so I'm kind of crunched in time. I don't have like a nice chunk of time today to be doing this like for several hours, so because I also have to eat lunch, right? Because in case you didn't know, I'm diabetic and I cannot quite skip meals. It's kind of bad for me. Well, unless you want to be entertained by a diabetic getting into a coma during a stream, which I would hope you don't, but you know. But anyway, so enough with the bad diabetic humor. We're gonna be playing January today. We're gonna try to solidify our spot here as the top team in the Campbell Conference. So one of the additions that we made is Mike Gartner. Of course, I could get Mike Gartner because he has a G. Don't ever forget that I have that limitation for me, because sometimes I do. I'm looking at players sometimes and I'm like, oh, I need to get him, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can't. Alright, so he's been really good. 20 points in 11 games since we got him, 11 goals, 9 assists. That's exactly what I was expecting from Mike Gartner. He's slotting in perfectly on that first line with Wayne Gretzky and Luc Robitaille, so that is one heck of a first line if you were to ask me. We're going to have to make some more changes as we go. As we know, I would like to improve the defense, and I also have to get rid of some players because they don't fit the requirement of the first or last first letter of their first or last name limitations. So guys like Marty McSorley are going to need to move, and sadly guys like Steve Duchesne are also going to need to be moved, so it's going to be up to me to figure it out. So for January, I didn't make a trade offer just yet. What I did is that I went into my... So something that I like to do, and if you're new to me doing this, you're going to see that on the 1st of February, I re-sign all of my expiring contracts that I want to keep. It's January, so what I did is that for now I've put the lesser guys, like the alpha star, 1 star, and 1.5 star players that don't fit the requirement since it's expiring contracts, right? I can't re-sign them. So I've put them on the trading block, and we're gonna go ahead and try and figure it out from there. So yeah. It's gonna be kind of interesting. I'm pretty stoked to be having that extra challenge. I keep saying that like it's like that giant turtle, which it kind of is, but I'm kind of excited about it. But anyway, all right. So let's start simming. I've been talking for way too long. It's like, ARG, shut up. Just play the game already. It's still early here where I live, so I get to drink my fateful coffee. Alright, so some news. Mats Naslund extends his assist streak to 8 games. Of course, Mats Naslund playing for the Montreal Canadiens. He had a goal and an assist against the poor Vancouver Canucks, as we saw in the previous streams / videos. They are terrible. Bobby Smith has a memorable game. He had 4 assists in that same game. That's indeed a pretty good game. Board confidence update. Bruce McNall is satisfied with my work. He's like, well, you haven't traded Gretzky yet. We just got him. You didn't trade him yet, so I guess I'm happy. Alright, Dino Ciccarelli's point streak ended at 16 games. It was held scoreless against the Orders. Memorable night for Jari Kurri in that same game. He had 4 goals. That is indeed pretty good. Too bad that I can't go and get Jari Kurri. Could have gone and got him to play with Wayne instead of Gardner, but he doesn't fit the requirements. Big game for Mark Messi in that same game as well. 4 assists for him. Alright. So we have a couple more days off, and then we're going to be playing on the road a little bit. And looks like we're playing yet again one of those neutral site games. Those always seem to be happening against Winnipeg. I don't know. I don't remember enough about that. I was a little young back then. I don't remember enough about that to remember if it was always against the same team that those neutral site games happen. But, yeah. Alright. Oh, suspension for Peter Zazell. I always thought it was a very fascinating name as a kid. That last name, Peter Zazell, always sounded like so mysterious to me. Right, so suspended for 2 games in Philly. And sorry, also if you're kind of new to me, when there's a drop in temperature, my throat is terrible, and streaming and talking a lot can be a little bit of a challenge. So I might be clearing my throat a lot. I apologize ahead of time for that. Because it's cold. Yeah, I know. The Canadian, living in the States. I've been here too long. I've been assimilated. I'm not used to the cold anymore, apparently. Oh, I could pick that guy up if I want to. I don't want to. Jari Grönstrand, 1-star player. Quebec is trying to pass him through waivers, so we're not gonna mess with that. Alright, so finally we have a game. So we had a little bit of a break here. We're going to be in Calgary to play against the Flames. Flames are also pretty good. They are 20-12-7, and the Oilers knocked us off from first place because we were inactive, and they've won games. So now we're 2 points behind. We do have a game in hand, too, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so 20-12-7 for the Flames. They're right behind us in the standings, and we are 2-1-1 against the Flames this season. Let's see if we can beat them again. Oh, no, not there. Here. That's where I want to be. Alright. So nothing too crazy regarding lines. So apparently we're going to go with Rolly Melanson for the first game of this calendar year, and Calgary is going to be sending Rick Wamsley in net. Go Kings, go! Oh, they heard my cheer. We won 6-2. Right, nice 6-2 victory on the road to start the calendar year. I like that. Alright, let's go ahead and see who did well. So we outshot Calgary 36-22. That's actually pretty good in those years. Wayne Gretzky first star of the game, 4 goals and an assist, so nice little game at the office for Gretzky. Mike Gardner was the second star, a goal and 2 assists, and Doug Crossman was the third star with a goal and an assist. Alright, so we took a 3-goal lead into the first period. Wayne Gretzky opened up the scoring with a power play goal from Paul Fenton and Doug Crossman. Then Wayne Gretzky scored again from Jim Fox and Mike Krushelinski. And then Mike Gardner scored unassisted. It was 3-0 for the Kings after 1. Then in the second period, the Flames scored. It was 3-1, and then we scored 3 more goals. Doug Crossman scored on the power play from Paul Fenton and Wayne Gretzky. Then Wayne Gretzky scored from Mike Gardner and Luc Robitaille. And then Wayne Gretzky scored his 45th from Chris Kontos and Mike Gardner, 6-1 after 2. There was a fight also in the, well, more than one, in the second period. So Gary Roberts fought Tom Laidlaw. And then Jeff Jackson fought Dave Taylor. Then in the third period, the Flames scored, made it 6-2. That was it, though. so they definitely ran out of time. Alright, so nice 6-2 victory in Calgary. Paul Fenton improves at center. Alright, that's good, that's good. No one could stop Wayne Gretzky. I know, I saw that. Oh, speaking of which, nobody could stop Connor McDavid yesterday in real life. Now, today is what? We're the 6th. Yesterday was Friday. I strongly recommend that you go watch the highlights of the Orders game and that you go and watch that goal from Connor McDavid. If you want to see one of the prettiest goals you'll ever see in your life, I recommend you go and do that. If you haven't already, obviously. Or if you have, you can go and watch it again. It's that beautiful of a goal. Alright. Marc Damour. Excuse me. Marc Damour has been put on waivers by the Buffalo Sabres. Alpha Star goaltender. Oh, Ray Bork, whom I could not acquire, extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had a goal and an assist against the Islanders. And in that same game, Cam Neely extended his goal streak to 5 games with 2 goals and 2 assists. Alright, Winnipeg now. We are in Winnipeg, or maybe at the neutral side, I don't know. So Winnipeg is 17, 16, and 3. That's 8 out of 10 in the Campbell Conference. Our conference is pretty strong. I mean, they're playing 1 game above 500 and they're like that low. And back in those days, you know, you could make the playoffs with quite the losing record. But anyway. So we are 3-1 against Winnipeg this season. Let's see if we can add some more here. So Glenn Ely is going to be in net for us. Pokey Reddick is going to be in net for the Jets. Oh, that's a loss for the Kings. Alright, so we lost 4-2 this time. We were no match for the Winnipeg Jets. Shots were 30 apiece. Pat Elenock was the first star. Oh yeah, he had 4 assists. First star. Dave Taylor was the second star with a goal, and then Frederick Lawson was the third star with 2 goals. Right, so the Jets opened up the scoring, scored twice actually, and then Wayne Gretzky scored a power play goal from Doug Crossman. It was 2-1 Winnipeg after 1. There was a fight between Ian Duncan and Gordonine as well. And in the second period, the late Dale Warchuk scored a goal. It was 3-1 Winnipeg at that point. Then Dave Taylor scored his 10th unassisted. It was 3-2. But then Winnipeg scored again. It was 4-2 after 2. Now what do we have here? We have a couple fights. Randy Carlisle and Marty McSorley fought in the second period. Then Ian Duncan and Gordonine went at it again. And then no goals in the third period. 2 fights. So Dale Warchuk fought Randy Ladouceur, and then Randy Carlisle fought Gordonine. Well, Gordonine with 3 fights in this game. Alright. Oh, Doug Crossman is injured, but his name is not colored, so usually that's a very minor day-to-day injury, so I'm probably not going to be too worried about it. Oh, he's dehydrated. Go get a bottle of Gatorade. Oh, wait. Was there Gatorade in, what, 89? Maybe. Sounds about right around the time where Gatorade showed up. Alright, so some news across the league. Dave Taylor has reached 900 points, so the goal that Dave Taylor scored in that game was his 900th of his career. Sadly, we lost. Pat Elenock had a good game, as we said. He had 4 assists. And Toronto might be looking to move Paul Gagner, the Alf Star left winger. I wish I wouldn't get those kind of news. Like, for star and Alf and up players, sure. For an Alpha Star player that's playing in the minors, I'm not too enthused. Alright. Oh, lots of Lots of news across the league here, and Greg Adams has been put on waivers. Now there's 2 Greg Adams, I believe. That's the one that's not like a 3-star player, so I'm not gonna claim him. 1-star left winger. Ray Bork extends his assist streak to 9 games. He had an assist against Montreal. Mats Naslund extends his assist streak to 9 games as well, with an assist in that same game. Cam Neely extends his goal streak to 6 games with a goal in that same game. Bobby Smith extends his point streak to 12 games with an assist in yet again that same game. Suspension over for Peter Zazell. And Jeff Courtnall extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal against the Chicago Blackhawks. Alright, and now we're playing yet another road game against Winnipeg, although, you know, by now you know that I've been talking about neutral site games, so I'm pretty sure that's one of them. Winnipeg is now 18, 16, and 3. They are 7th now. And of course we are now we are now 3 and 2 against them this season. Alright, we're going to have Rolly Melanson in net for us. Pokey Reddick is going to be in net for Winnipeg again. Why not? He just beat us. Ha! Revenge has been enacted. We won by the exact same score that we were defeated with 2 days ago. A 4-2 victory against the Winnipeg Jets on that mysterious road game that we have no idea where it happened. I guess I could research it by Googling some, but I'm not that motivated to find that information. Alright, so we outshot Winnipeg 38-32. Luke Robitaille was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Tomas Steen was the second star with a goal, and Mike Gartner was the third star with a goal and an assist. Gordonine opened up the scoring in the first period for us with a power play goal from Luke Robitaille and Mike Gartner. Then Mike Gartner scored from Steve Duchesne and Luke Robitaille. It was 2-0. Then Winnipeg scored. It was a 2-1 score. And then Chris Conto scored from Paul Gay and Randy Ladouceur. 3-1 for the Kings here after one. Randy Carlisle fought Marty McSorley again. They fought in the last game as well. Then Tom Laidlaw fought Laurie Boschman. Then in the second period, Mike Krushalinski scored from Dan Gratton and Jim Fox. It was 4-1 for the Kings. And then there was a fight between Mario Marois and Marty McSorley. Then finally in the third period, the Jets scored. But it was too little too late. We won by 2, 4-2. No fights in the third period. Everybody's surprised, including me. Dave Brown has been put on waivers by the Buffalo Sabres. The half-star right winger is going to stay there as far as I'm concerned. Yari Curry has recorded 900 points in his career. That is a nice assist, nice plateau. Yari Curry is 28 years old and of course a 5-star player. Ray Borg extends his assist streak to 10 games with an assist against the Quebec Nordiques. Michel Goulet has a good game in that same game. He had 3 goals and an assist. Doug Crossman is almost 100% and wants to come back. Although I'm not even sure that he missed a game. Mats Naslund's assist streak ended at 9 games. He did score 2 goals though. That was against the Red Wings. Bobby Smith extends his point streak to 13 games with a goal in that same game. Suspension is over for Stéphane Richer. He is back in the lineup with the Habs. Doug Crossman is fully recovered, which is good to hear. And we are now going to be hosting the Edmonton Orders. That's kind of an important game. The Orders are 1 point behind us. We played the exact same amount of games, so... And we have not beaten them so far this season, apparently. Alright, so Edmonton is 24, 12, and 6. We're back home to play against them. And We are 0-2 against Edmonton this year. Let's get a W against them. Bill Ranford is going to be in net for the Orders. Glenn Ely is going to be in net for me and the Kings. And it's a victory, 5-4 win. All right, close affair, but we came back on top here with the 1-goal W. All right, we outshot the Edmonton Orders 51-28. Marty McSorley was the first out of the game. He had a goal, an assist, and probably 17 fights or so. Is that Reed Larson? What's this dude's name? Dang. Where are you? Yeah, Reed Larson. Woo! Look at me knowing players' names. Reed Larson was the second star with no points, which is why it was hard to find his name somewhere. Then Jim Fox was the third star with a goal. 16,005 people in attendance. That's our maximum capacity. Another sellout crowd in LA to watch us win. Alright, so the Orders actually did score first in that game, but then Steve Duchesne tied the game before the end of the period. That was a power play goal. It was unassisted. It was tied at 1 after 1. No fights in the first period. Then in the second period, Jim Fox scored his 5th from Dave Taylor and Marty McSorley. It was 2-1 Kings. Then the Orders tied the game, and then Marty McSorley scored on the power play from Wayne Gretzky and Mike Gartner. It was 3-2 for the Kings, and then the Orders tied the game again. It was tied at 3 after 2. There were a couple fights in the second period. Marty McSorley fought Jeff Bucheboom, and then Dean Kennedy fought Steve Smith. Then in the third period, John Tonnelly scored his 10th of the season on the power play from Steve Duchesne and Dave Taylor. And then Mike Gartner scored on the power play from Wayne Gretzky and Doug Crossman. It was 5-3 at that point. That was also the game-winning goal. The Orders would score, make it 5-4, but they just couldn't tie the game before the end of the third. And the LA Kings have a W here. Alright, memorable night for Pelly Eklund. Playing in Philadelphia, he had a hat-trick, 3 goals against the Minnesota North Stars. Prolific passing night for Kelly Miller in Washington. He had 4 assists against the Quebec Nordiques. Alright, we have a day off, and then we're going to be hosting the St. Louis Blues. Right, Gerard Gallant extends his point streak to 12 games. He had a goal against the Blackhawks. Strong night for Steve Thomas. 3 goals and an assist in that same game. Bobby Smith's point streak ended at 13 games. He was held scoreless against the New Jersey Devils. Alright, and now we're going to be playing against St. Louis. It's going to be our first game of the season against the Blues. We have not faced them yet. So St. Louis is 13-25-3. That's good for 9th in the Campbell Conference. I almost said Western. I'm sure I'm going to say Western at one point. It's going to happen. You can mock me. Throw me in the mud when that happens. Alright, so let's take a look at injuries first. No injuries in St. Louis. Oh, no, that's not true. They're just not on the injured reserve. Alright, so Alan Bester and Greg Millen are in net for the Blues. Then Brian Benning, Todd Charlesworth, Gaston Gingras, Bothwell, Roberts, and Whistle on D. Oh, that D is a little raw. Then up front, Allison, which used to be with us, Gino Cavallini, Dave Lowry, Tony McKinney, Sergio Mamesso, Bullard, Bernie Federico, Fluck Art, and then Meager and Cliff Running are both injured and not going to be playing this game. Higgins, Brettel, Greg Paslowski, Herb Bragland, and Jim Vesey up front. yeah, that D is not rock solid. All right, let's see how it fares against us. Hopefully, really poorly. We're in front of our home crowd, more than likely a full arena again. Greg Millen is going to be in net for the Blues. We're going to go with Roland Melançon, or in French, Roland Melançon, without the English pronunciation. Alright, go Kings, go, come on. Oh, it's a tie. That feels like a loss. You tie at home against a lesser team. It feels like a loss. We'll take the point, we will, but yeah, totally expected a blowout here. We outshot them 46-37. Wayne Gretzky was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Brett Hull was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Mike Gartner was the third star with 2 assists. Full capacity arena again. The Blues actually opened up the scoring in the first. It was 1-0 St. Louis after 1. Then in the second period, Paul Fenton tied the game with a power play goal from Mike Ridley and Steve Duchesne. It was tied at 1. Then the Blues scored twice, took a 3-1 lead, and then Wayne Gretzky scored from Mike Gartner and Luc Robitaille. It was 3-2 St. Louis after 2. Then in the third period, Wayne Gretzky scored to tie the game from Mike Gartner. That held all the way into the overtime, and nobody scored, nobody fought, nothing. Alright, it's a boring tie. I didn't mind ties, by the way, back in the day, but against a lesser opponent and at home, yeah, we should have won this. Oh god, whew, don't scare me like that. Wayne Gretzky is injured, but it's gonna be a day-to-day injury because his name is, unless that changed in this version of the game, I don't think so, Tom. So let's advance that and see what's what. Oh dear God. This game hates me. It's like, oh, you're doing a challenge, you're doing kind of good, you're first, yeah, here. We're going to give Wayne Gretzky a 2 to 3 months day-to-day injury, like a nagging injury that he can't play through, but it's going to make him less efficient. Ugh. Severe calf laceration. Oh my god, that's gonna take 2 to 3 months to completely recover. That's one gash, like playing with an open wound. Ray Bourque extends his assist streak to 11 games with an assist against the Montreal Canadiens. Alright, so yeah, Gretzky can play. I just don't know how much it's going to affect him. Alright, well, we'll have to trudge through that and hope that, you know, it doesn't become like a situation where he gets his leg amputated or something. Hopefully they've put some peroxide on that cat. Alright, we're gonna move on here. We're gonna stop feeling deflated by that long-term day-to-day injury that Wayne Gretzky just suffered. Randy Gillen is hurt in Winnipeg. He's gonna miss 4 months. He has a torn flexor tendon in his elbow. Right, Randy Gillen out for pretty much the rest of the season. Alright, Buffalo is looking to move Richie Dunn, yet another half star player that we're getting news about their availability on the trading block. Look at me as I completely ignore that and don't rush to go and offer a trade for him. All right, Hartford is in town now, so the Waiters are doing pretty good. I always like when the Waiters do good. Even if I'm not playing as them, I always want for Hartford to do good. So they are 23-17-1, so not too shabby. We are 1-0 against them this season. It was at home, so that's the second home game against Hartford. Back in the day, teams would play more than twice against teams from the other conference. So you would get the visit of, like, Hartford when you were playing as the Kings more than once, unless that's a neutral site game. That I don't know. All right, let's see how our limping Wayne Gretzky does. Mike Liut is going to be in net for the Waiters. We're going to have Glenn Ely in net. Come on. And that's a 4-1 victory. Wayne Gretzky did not lose a step. No, he didn't. We outshot the Waiters 44-27. Wayne Gretzky, first of the game, 4 assists in a 4-1 win, so he participated to all the goals, so didn't lose a step. Mike Gartner was the second star with 2 goals, and Marty McSorley was the third star with 2 assists. And we had yet again a sellout crowd at the Forum in LA, 16,005 people. The Waiters opened up the scoring in the first period, and then Mike Gartner tied the game from Wayne Gretzky and John Tonelli. It was tied at 1 after 1. Then in the second period, Steve Duchesne scored from Wayne Gretzky and Marty McSorley, and then Mike Gartner scored his 40th from Wayne Gretzky and Marty McSorley. 3-1 Kings after 2. Not a lot of penalties too. That's very unlike the 80s. What's going on? Then Luc Robitaille scored in the third period. It was his 20th of the season from Wayne Gretzky. 4-1 the score. That was also the final score. Nice little win at home. And now Dean Kennedy is hurt, and his name is in red, so it's probably going to be a little bit more severe. Alright. Oh, 1 to 2 months, huh? Fractured shoulder blade. Yeah, I'm gonna need to address that. Alright, Dean Kennedy is injured. I was trying to trade him too. Memorable game for Wayne Gretzky, as we saw. He had 4 assists. That was pretty awesome. Suspension for Bob Probert with the Red Wings. He's gonna miss 4 games. Ray Bourque's assist streak ended at 11 games. Didn't get a point in that same game against the Red Wings. Gerard Gallant in that same game extended his point streak to 13 games with a goal and an assist. Good game for Phil Housley playing in Buffalo. He had 5 assists against the Quebec Nordiques. And memorable game for Mats Naslund. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Alright, we need to address the Dean Kennedy situation. We're going to go ahead and put him on the injured reserve. We need to recall somebody, and we have not a whole lot. Alright, who do we get? I think we're gonna get Steve Richmond. Yeah, let's get Steve Richmond. There we go. Okay, we might want to address the captaincy thing. I mean, Gretzky's the captain, but Kennedy was one of the assistants, so I might want to give that to somebody else since he's out. And again, I do this the very easy way, and I guess Luc Robitaille is the alternate too. There you go. Alright, we're about to hit the road. Here we have 2 days off before we play against the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis. There was no stopping Scott Arniel. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against the Flames. John Ogrodnik has a memorable game. He had a hat-trick as well against Pittsburgh. Gerard Gallant extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had 2 goals against the Flyers. That was also 14 straight games with a point for him. Adam Oates extends his point streak to 12 games. He had an assist against the Flyers. Suspension from Sergio Mamesso. Playing in St. Louis, he's going to miss 5 games. Alright, so we don't have to face him. If you're going to be dirty, I don't want to play against you. Alright. Mark Messi extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had a goal and an assist against Chicago. Good game for Ron Francis. He had 4 assists against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And prolific passing night for Ed Olchuk playing in Toronto. He had 4 assists in that same game against the Waiters. Yeah, we're in St. Louis to play the Blues. We just tied not too long ago at home against them. They are now 14-25-4, and they are still 9th. A little W here would feel pretty good. That's a game we should have. Glenn Ely is going to be in net for us. Alan Bester is going to be in net for the Blues. It is a win, a decisive one as well. This is a 6-1 victory here against the Blues. We outshot them 33-20. Doug Crossman was the first star of the game. He had 3 assists. Wayne Gretzky was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Bob Carpenter was the third star with 2 goals. Alright, so we have scored 4 goals in the first period. Gord Deneen opened up the scoring from Wayne Gretzky and Luc Robitaille. Steve Duchesne scored the second goal on the power play that was unassisted. Wayne Gretzky scored on the power play as well from Doug Crossman and Mike Gartner. Then Paul Fenton scored from Chris Contos and Doug Crossman. After one, it was 4-0. It looked pretty good for us. There was a fight between Brian Benning and Marty McSorley as well. Then in the second period, the Blues scored, and then Bob Carpenter scored his 15th from Randy Ladouceur and Dave Taylor. It was a 5-1 lead for the Kings at that point. Then in the third period, Bob Carpenter scored from Doug Crossman. It was a 6-1 victory for the LA Kings. Alright, Gerard Gallant extends his goal streak to 6 games with a goal against the Flames. That's also 15 straight games with a point for him. Adam Oates' point streak ended at 12 games. He was held scoreless in that same game against the Flames. It's kind of weird for me to see Adam Oates with the Red Wings. Just because I usually do historicals that start just a little bit later when he's with the Bruins, so that it's just kind of weird to me. Alright. And now the road takes us to Uniondale to go and play against the Islanders in New York. Kelly Kisio is hurt with the Rangers. He's going to miss 6. Oh, see you next year, Kelly Kisio. You are done. Fractured larynx. Oh, he's not going home to stream, I don't think. Suspension for Denis Savard with the Blackhawks. He's going to miss 3 games. I think that's the second time this season that Denis Savard got suspended. He wasn't exactly a dirty player. Ron Greschner reaches 600 points with the Rangers. He got an assist against the Chicago Blackhawks in that same game. And Mark Messi extends his assist streak to 9 games with 2 assists against the Jets. We are in New York to play the Islanders. They are having kind of a tough season. They are 14-24-6. We are 1-1 against the Islanders this season, including a 6-0 trouncing at home. We want to win this one for sure. Rolly Melanson is going to be in net for us. Kelly Rudy is going to be in net for the Islanders. Come on, guys. It's too bad that it's not Glenn Ely. That's the goaltender for us, because I've had that thing forever where I've always mixed up those two guys. Like Kitty Rudy and Glenn Ely, I've always kind of mixed up in my head for whatever reason. There's players like that sometimes you're just like, God. Anyway, so just a side thing. Alright, let's go ahead and click the button already. And it's a 4-1 victory, so not a trouncing, but it's a win nonetheless, and we are definitely happy with that. We outshot the Islanders 30-27. Chris Contos was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Paul Fenton was the second star with an assist, and Dan Gratton was the third star with a goal. We open up the scoring in the first. Luc Robitaille scored from Randy Ladouceur and Wayne Gretzky. Then the Islanders tied the game. And it was a 1-1 game. Then in the second period, Marty McSorley scored from Chris Contos and Paul Fenton. Then Bob Carpenter from John Tonnelly and Gord Deneen. 3-1 Kings after 2. There was also a fight between Steve Conroy and Dave Taylor. Then in the third period, Dan Gratton scored his first goal of the season in an empty net from Jim Fox and Chris Contos' 4-1 victory. There was also a fight between Rich Pilon and Luc Robitaille fought. I'm not surprised that Rich Pilon fought, but I'm a little surprised that Luc Robitaille got dragged into that. Alright, so another victory for the Kings. We're doing a lot better. I like how we're playing. A night to remember for Michel Goulet. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against the Devils. Good night for Walt Podobny with the Nordiques as well. He had a hat-trick as well. And suspension for Wendell Clark in Toronto. He's going to miss 2 games. Memorable game for Dave Barr in Detroit. He had a hat-trick against the Hawks. Gerard Gallant extends his point streak to 16 games in that game. He had an assist. Strong game for Murray Craven. He had 4 goals against the Oilers. Mark Messi extends his assist streak to 10 games. He had 2 of those in that same game against the Flyers. And the Rangers are listening to trade offers for Joe Patterson, a 1-star left winger. Alright. So we are now in Hartford to play against the Whalers. That's going to be our first trip to Hartford this season. Hartford is 25-19-1, so still doing pretty good over there. We are 2-0 against the Whalers. We won both games at home against them. Let's see if we can also win on the road. Alright, Glenn Ely in net for us. Peter Sidarkowitz in net for the Whalers. Ooh, that's a shutout for Glenn Ely. We won 5-0 in Hartford. I always want for Hartford to do good, but not against me. We outshot Hartford 35-26. Glenn Ely, first star with 26 saves and the shutout. Marty McSorley was the second star with a goal and an assist. Steve Duchesne was the third star with 2 assists. Alright, Luc Robitaille opened up the scoring in the first. That was a short-handed goal from Tom Laidlaw and Gord Deneen. 1-0 Kings. And then Wayne Gretzky, it finally happened. Wayne Gretzky scored his 50th goal of the season on the power play from Doug Crossman and Steve Duchesne. 2-0 Kings after 1. So we have a 50-goal scorer on our team, and it is still January, folks. Don't see that in 2021, at least. Shouldn't. Maybe Connor McDavid can do it. But yeah, it's different era. No fights in the first period either. In period number 2, Marty McSorley scored from Wayne Gretzky and Mike Gardner. Made it 3-0. Then Dave Taylor from Marty McSorley and Bob Carpenter. It was 4-0 for the Kings at that point. Then in the third period, Bob Carpenter added a goal from Steve Duchesne. Made it 5-0. No fights. just a nice W with a crooked number on the board for us. 5-0 the final score. Alright, Darren Elliott is on waivers, Alpha Star goaltender. I am not going to pick him up. Mark Messi extends his assist streak to 11 games with 2 goals and an assist against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Memorable night for Ken Quinney in Quebec. He had a goal and 4 assists against the Flames. No further punishment for Jim Vesey with the Blues. Looked at, no suspension. And same for Rick Lanz in Vancouver. Not going to be suspended over there. Alright, so we have a couple days off, and then we're going to play in Washington against the Caps. That's going to be our first game of the season against them. Gerard Gallant's point streak ended at 16 games. He was held scoreless against those Caps I just talked about. That's going to be also the first time that we play against Bernie Nichols that we traded there for Mike Gartner. So hopefully he doesn't light us up. Suspension over for Bob Probert in Detroit, back in the lineup over there. Oh yeah, it's true. Nichols got hurt. I just don't remember for how long. I think it wasn't that long too, but I remember that he got hurt shortly after I traded him. Mark Messi extends his point streak to 12 games. He had 2 assists against the Rangers. It was a little bit confusing because Messi did play for the Rangers, but he's still on the Orders for now. Alright, so that was 12 straight games with an assist for him. Oh, there's been a trade between Montreal and Toronto. So Bob Gainey, who's been on the trading block since I started this stream, was finally traded. He's going to Toronto. So Bob Gainey and Donald Dufresne go to Toronto for Ken Yaramchuk and Wes Jarvis. Not a blockbuster trade, but I always like when there's a trade. Alright, so we are in Washington to play the Capitals. They are very good. They are 32-14-3. That feels really weird for me to say that the Washington Capitals are good. If you go and watch my previous series on my YouTube channel, you're gonna see that both years they were terrible. The poor Washington. And then I did a random debut with my friend JT Dutch, and they were bad there too, even, you know, with random players. They just couldn't catch a break, but they're good this year. So let's take a look at the Capitals here. Okay, so Dale Hunter is hurt, so he's not going to play, so no Dale Hunter for this game. Clint Malarchuk and Pete Peters are the goaltenders. Benning, Rod Langway, Grant Ledyard, Scott Stevens, Bill Older, Kevin Hatcher, Larry Murphy, and Neil Sheehy. That D is actually pretty good. Yvon Colliot, Jeff Courtnall, Lou Franceschetti, I think that's how it's said. That's Dave Hunter, I believe, because Dale Hunter is on injured reserve. Yeah, that's Dave Hunter. Miller Sundstrom, Bernie Nichols, Dave Christian, Gould Gustafson, Steve Leach, McRae, Basil McRae, and Millar. Alright. How good has been Nichols since we traded him? 15 points in 10 games. That's pretty good. They got exactly what they thought they were getting with him. I got what I thought I was getting with Mike Gartner. No regrets. Alright. Although I do want to win this game. Glenn Ely is going to be in net for us, of course. He had a shutout in his last game. And Pete Peters is going to be in net for Washington. And it's a 6-2 victory for the Kings. We have forgotten how to lose. That's an awesome feeling. We outshot Washington 48-35 in this game. Mike Gartner was the first star of the game. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals against his former team. Luc Robitaille was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Dan Gratton was the third star with 2 assists. Alright, so no goals scored in the first period. Then in the second, the Capitals took the lead. It was a 1-0 game. Then Mike Gartner scored unassisted to tie the game. It was tied at 1 after 2. We had a fight between Kevin Hatcher and Randy Ladouceur. Then in the third period, Mike Gartner scored on the power play from Wayne Gretzky and Marty McSorley. Then Luc Robitaille from John Tonelli and Steve Duchesne. Then Washington scored, made it 3-2. But then we had 3 more goals in the tank. Chris Contos from Paul Fenton and Dan Gratton. Paul Fenton from Dan Gratton and Chris Contos. And then Mike Gartner completed his hat trick from Luc Robitaille and Randy Ladouceur. It was a 6-2 victory. And we kept Bernie Nichols in check against us, his former team. There was no stopping Mike Gartner. As we saw, we had a hat trick with him. Suspension over for Denis Savard with the Blackhawks back in the lineup. They need him. He's probably one of their better players, if not the best. And we have 3 more games left to go here in January. And they are all going to be at home. So we're going back home. Oh, Denis Savard came back from suspension and scored his 900th point of his career with a goal and an assist performance against the Edmonton Orders. Mark Messier in that same game extended his point streak to 13 games. He had a goal and an assist. And that was 13 straight games with an assist for him. And then Wendell Clark is back from suspension with the Maple Leafs. Alright, the Vancouver Canucks are in town. Dear God, they're bad. Whew. Reminds me of the first few years of the Ottawa Senators. Being a fan of that team was rough. The Canucks are 9-39-1. They are dead last in the Campbell Conference, and it's not even close. They are almost 20 points out. Of the just out of 10th place. They are 15 points back actually. Alright, so we are 3-1 against the Canucks this season. We managed to lose a game against them, and I do not want for this to happen again. So let's go ahead and destroy them, please. Like, the Canucks are going to go with Kirk McLean in net. We are going to go with Roland Melanson. And that's a 5-2 victory. I like that. We outshot the Canucks 44-31. Steve Duchesne was the first out of the game. He had 2 assists. Mike Gartner continues his scoring here with 2 goals. And the second star, and Doug Crossman was the third star with 2 assists. So Wayne Gretzky kind of slowed down a little bit with that injury. So, yeah. I wonder who's the motherfucker that sliced his leg with a skate. Probably did it on purpose, too. Alright, so it was a sellout crowd here in LA again. I think all the games have been sellout so far in LA. We scored 3 unanswered goals in the first period. Mike Gartner from Wayne Gretzky and Steve Duchesne. Then Mike Ridley from Jim Fox and Gord Dineen. Then Mike Gartner again, his 45th of the season from Luc Robitaille and Marty McSorley. It was 3-0 at that point. So unless there's a disaster, we should have at least 250 goal scorers on the team. So it was 3-0, the Vancouver Canucks scored. It was 3-1, and then John Tonelli scored from Bob Carpenter and Doug Crossman. It was a 4-1 lead at that point for us, and it was only the first period. There was also a fight between Marty McSorley and Randy Boyd. Then in the second period, the Canucks scored, and then John Tonelli scored short-handed from Doug Crossman and Steve Duchesne. 5-2 Kings after 2. And then no scoring in the third, although there was a fight between Dave Taylor and Harold Schneps. I never know how to say his last name. Sorry, I am not meaning to destroy it. Alright, and it is a 5-2 victory for the Kings against the Canucks. Oh, I thought it said three months. Okay, so not as bad, but still it's gonna hurt the Bruins. So the Bruins are gonna be out. Cam Neely, he's hurt for 3 weeks. Strain abdominal muscle. Sergio Mamesso's suspension ends. Back in the lineup in St. Louis. Strong night for Pat Elenak. He had 3 goals and an assist for the Jets against the Islanders. Open ice leads to a productive night for Scott Stevens. He had 4 assists against the Flyers. Pretty good game for him as well. Alright, we have a day off, and then we're going to be hosting the Edmonton Orders, who are... they've slowed down a tiny bit, but they're still not that far behind us. We cannot let go. Alright, so the Devils are trying to move George McPhee, Alpha Star left winger. I'm guessing those are probably a lot more interesting when it's around the trade deadline and that maybe there's, you know, actual decent players available or something like that. But for Alpha Star players, I don't know if it's because of my settings. Maybe I would need to go and like somewhere. Maybe there's a box to check to not be annoyed with those. But yeah. All right, the Oilers are in town. They are 30, 15, and 6. They are right behind us in the standings. They are 4 point behind. They played 1 more game than us. We are 1-2 against the Oilers this season, so we did beat them this month. So we stopped being winless against them. Hopefully we can beat them. I don't want for them to get any closer. Bill Ranford is going to be in net for the Oilers. We're going to go with Glenn Ely. We beat them in overtime 4-3 now again, and I know I say that every single time. I'm just making sure in case that it's like your first video you're seeing with me. We won in overtime. In the 80s, losing in overtime was not providing you with a point. It was just a regular loss. So the Oilers are not getting any points out of that. And I get the 2 points. I get the W. I get to celebrate. I get to be happy. Screw those guys. 4-3 overtime win. We outshot them 40-29. Doug Crossman was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Esa Tikkanen was the second star with an assist, and Luke Robitaille was the third star with a goal. Another sellout crowd here at the Forum in Inglewood. The Orders actually scored first, and then we scored twice. Mike Gartner from Wayne Gretzky and Doug Crossman, and then Mike Ridley from Steve Duchesne and Dave Taylor. So 2-1 Kings after 1. Then in the second period, the Oilers tied the games. So we had a tie game heading into the third period where the Oilers actually took the lead, but with 1 minute and 13 seconds left to go in the third period, Luke Robitaille tied the game from Chris Contos and Jim Fox, brought us to overtime. And then Doug Crossman played the hero in overtime with a power play goal while Randy Gregg was in the box 8 seconds after the start of the penalty from Mike Gartner and Mike Ridley. It was a 4-3 victory. Oh dear Jesus. I was afraid that was gonna happen. Oh, that's not good. I'm gonna go and cry in my bathroom that's like right that way. We have a bunch of injuries in that game, so we won, but at what cost? So Gretzky's going to be out, Carpenter's going to be out, and Steve Richmond is going to be out. Now, Steve Richmond, I don't care that much, but I just lost my top two centers in the same game. What is this matter of nonsense that is going on, that is befalling my team? Somebody roll a nat 1 somewhere. Alright, we're gonna need to figure this out. Gretzky is out 2 to 3 weeks, and Carpenter day to day. Oh, and Gay is hurt as well, day to day as well. Dear God, what happened there? Alright, so Brian Stankiewicz is available on waivers. He's a 1-star goaltender. I'm not picking him up. Alright, injury puts Wayne Gretzky on the sidelines. He has a strained quad. He's going to miss 3 weeks. It's not the end of the world, but I need Wayne Gretzky. Carpenter is day-to-day with an injury. Again, that's not the end of the world. He's not able to play till 9-stitch facial cut. He might be before our next game. We have a few days off. Maybe I'll get lucky. Mark Messier's point streak ended at 13 games in that game. We held him scoreless, so SS streak also ended at 13 games. Ray Ferraro has a great game playing for the Waiters. 3 goals and an assist against the Quebec Nordiques. And Phil Housley extends his SS streak to 8 games with an assist against the Montreal Canadiens. Alright, I think I'm gonna sim. We have 2 days off before we play the very last game of January. I think I'm gonna sim and see who's available and what's what, and take it from there. Alright, Sean McKenna suffers an injury while running. We're playing for the Hartford Whalers. It's just a sore knee and he's day-to-day, but yeah. That just proves that if you sit on your couch and watch Netflix instead of going out and running, chances are you will not get injured. For more health tips, continue watching my channel. Alright. Dave Christian reaches 600 points, 1 goal and an assist against the Minnesota North Stars. Jason Lafreniere has a strong game for the Rangers. He had 5 assists against the Islanders. There was no stopping John Ogrodnik in that same game. 4 goals and 2 assists. Alright, and that's the scouting. Don't care. Alright, now let's see. Alright, Gay can play. That's good. Gretzky needs to go on the injured reserve. Alright. Alright, Carpenter should be back soon, so one of those guys can fill in. Richmond should be back soon, so Randy Ladouceur. So I just need to recall 1 guy. Hey, buddy, you want to come and replace Wayne Gretzky in the lineup? No pressure. Oh, that's going to be Bob Kudelski. Come on, Bob. Alright. So we recalled Bob Kudelski to fill in the skates of Wayne Gretzky. No small task. Alright, so we're about to host the Calgary Flames. I'm not sure what that game is going to look like. We're in French we call it the La Grande Faucheuse came through the team. Basically, La Grande Faucheuse would be like death, like the incarnation of death with the sight, right? So, alright, so Flames in town. We are 3-1-1 against the Flames. They are 25-18-9. That's good for 4th in the Campbell Conference. So let's see how we fare without, you know, most of our great players, or the greatest player, or, you know, the great one at the very least. Alright, so all of a sudden Mike Ridley becomes our first line center. Let's see what happens. Rick Wamsley is going to be in net for the Flames. Glenn Ely is in net for us. We still managed to win 4-2. Let's weather this storm and come back stronger when we get Wayne Gretzky back. It's going to be almost like making a trade for a superstar. So, 4-2 win against the Flames. We outshot the Flames 29-21. Mike Gartner took matters into his own hands and he was like, well, Wayne Gretzky's not there, so I better do something. He had a hat-trick first star, 3 goals. Joe Nieuwendyk was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Dan Gratton was the third star with 3 assists. Full crowd again here in Inglewood, of course. So even if Wayne Gretzky couldn't play, people still came to the game. Flames scored twice in the first period, took a 2-0 lead, and then we tied the game. John Tonelli scored from Dave Taylor and Dan Gratton, and then Mike Gartner scored on the power play from Dan Gratton and Doug Crossman, tied at 2 after 1. Then nobody scored in the second period. There wasn't even a single penalty. And then in the third period, Mike Gartner scored from Dan Gratton and Doug Crossman, and then Mike Gartner again scored unassisted. It was 4-2, and we managed to win despite being depleted. So Mike Gartner has a memorable game. He had, of course, that hat trick that we just saw. And Randy Ledusser improves that right defense. Good for him. Alright. Kind of took me a second to come up with it. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and continue. We are January 31st, by the way. That was the last game, but I'm gonna make it February 1st before I stop. Oh, quite a few news here. Mike Foligno has reached 600 points in his career with 2 assists against the Hartford Whalers. Great night for Sylvain Cote in that same game. He had 4 assists. Phil Housley's assist streak ended at 8 games. He did score a goal too in that game. Herb Brooks might lose his job as the coach of the Blues. The Blues are 15-31-4. That's not good enough, and they want to get rid of him. Alright, the top selling Kings jerseys for January: Wayne Gretzky, Luc Robitaille, Dave Taylor, Mike Gartner, and Rolly Melanson. Alright. Alright, Bob Carpenter is ready for more drills, which is good because we need for him to come and play with us yet again. Paul Gay on the edge of returning, that's cool. Right, the jerseys that have sold the most. Is that new that they put our team in red? I think it is. I don't think that it was like that. So I know that there's been an update to the game. I haven't gotten to play the game in almost a week. I know that there's been an update, so I guess that that came in that. Alright, so Mark Messi is the most sold jersey. Wayne Gretzky is 4th, and Brian Hayward. I love seeing how Brian Hayward sells more jerseys than, you know, Lanny McDonald, Yari Curry, Mats Naslund, Paul Coffey, Mario Lemieux, Steve Yzerman, Luc Robitaille, you know, just those guys. Alright, so the players of the month in the NHL were both from the Orders. Bill Ranford and Mark Messier both got the honors, of course. Ranford for the goaltender of the month and Mark Messier for the forward of the month. So, good for them, I guess. Alright, so as it stands, we are still first in our conference. We are, for the first time of this season, we are actually dealing with like injury bugs. We had a few like very minor injuries and everything that were not really a big deal, but now that's the first time we are dealing with a kind of an injury rash here. So we're gonna get to see how we fare with that. Also, it's February 1st. That means that the next time before I start, you know, coming live, I'm going to be signing players that I want to bring back, and I'm going to add more players to the trade block, and then we're going to try to maximize my players that I have to get rid of, which sucks. I like the challenge, but it sucks because I would like to keep like Steve Duchesne, but it is what it is. So I'll figure it out. Don't worry. I'll cheat. I'll figure it out. By cheating. No, wait, no. Alright, so, yeah, we have a 6-point lead over Edmonton, which, you know, is the biggest threat here. And they have played one more game than us. So we have a 6-point lead with a game in hand. That's a nice position to be in. It doesn't guarantee anything, though, so let's not start celebrating with champagne or anything like that. Um, as far as the other conference, Washington is first in the Wales conference, followed by Montreal, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Hartford, New York Rangers, Boston, and Buffalo. So as it stands, and again, in those days, almost everybody was making the playoffs, right? So in the East, the three teams that are not about to make the playoffs are the Devils, Islanders, and Nordiques. And in the West, it's going to be the Blues and the Canucks. And I think it's going to stay like that. So the order of the teams might change, but in the West, in the Campbell Conference, I said earlier I was gonna say West. Happened even quicker than I thought. So in the Campbell Conference, I think that the teams are pretty much decided. The order might change because of the points. There are some teams that are really close to each other, but I mean, St. Louis is 11 points out, so I just don't think they're gonna be able to make up that kind of deficit. And the Canucks, of course, are 24 points out. Yeah, not happening for them. In the East, it's I think that the Islanders and Nordiques are gonna be out, but the Devils could overcome the Sabres or something. They're only 3 points out, so that one is possible. The other one's pretty unlikely. The Devils also have a better goal differential than the Sabres by quite a decent margin too, so they might be able to have the defense to sustain like the gruesome end to the season and like squeeze in. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. All right. Let's take a look at our team. Of course, we're not going to see Wayne Gretzky's stats because he's on the injured reserve. I wish they would still show it in here, even if you have somebody on the injured reserve, but maybe there's a way to get it in the ear, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Alright, so Gartner is really close to 100 points. He has 92 points and he's one goal away from 50, so coming exactly as advertised. I knew what I was going to get when I got my Gartner, and I still can't believe that there's people in the world that think that he was a crappy player because he never won the Stanley Cup. Mike Gartner was an extremely solid and consistent player. He just was never lucky enough to be on the right team at the right time. Then it starts to drop. Luc Robitaille, 59 points in 51 games. Steve Duchesne, 48 and 49. So Duchesne is almost a point per game. Ridley, 47 and 52, so almost a point per game for him too. Then it starts to go down from there. So yeah, we have the offense. The challenge is really going to be to find good defenders to play for us. And the goaltending could be better, but we're winning games, and like we're not. I thought we would win a lot more, like 8-6 games and stuff like that. Because the D and the goaltender is not all that great. So I thought for sure we would win a lot of games because we have a great offense, but I thought we would allow a lot more goals than we are. So we're doing a little bit better there in that regard. Alright. Let's take a look in the league. Let's see who's the best at stuff. Wayne Gretzky is the best at scoring goals. He has 50 goals, and then Mike Gartner has 49, and he's second. And then the third place is Sylvain Turgeon with 39. So yeah, we are a goal-scoring machine, and I like that. I can't believe that the Rat is still the best passer in the league. Ken Linzman. Ken Linzman, 61 assists, best passer in the league, followed by Ray Bourque. And the best scorer in the league is 1 point shy of 100. It is Wayne Gretzky. He has 99 for number 99. Look at that. I know, right? Mike Gartner has the most shots by a very large margin. Then plus minus Steve Duchesne, Luc Robitaille, and Wayne Gretzky are all first. Let's go take a look at our goalie leaders. I don't know that our guys are gonna show up in there in like some of the stats because we're kind of alternating goaltenders, so I don't know that they have enough games played for that. Alright, let's see. Save percentage, Glenn Ely is third with a 910 save percentage, so pretty good. And Rolly Melanson is 7th with 905, so both of our goaltenders in 1988, 1989 are above 900 save percentage. That is excellent goaltending for those years, so that's definitely great. And then Glenn Ely is second in the league for the goals save above average with 15.57. So basically what that means is that with the advanced stats, he should have allowed almost 16 more goals than he did. So that's a very good stat. Rolly Melanson is also pretty good there. He's 9th with almost 10. So we are getting the goaltending. We are getting the scoring. So things are going pretty good, folks. So I'm going to go ahead and come back here. So looks like February is going to have... kind of a mixed bag there. Yep. Alright, it's time to save the game. It's also time to say that, as usual, I want to thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you like the video and you would like to help support me and my channel, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. That all helps. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you folks next time. Thank you.